Bolt fam, things just got real in Los Angeles. We've got breaking updates that hit the heart of this fan base, tough decisions in the locker room, a superstar walking a fine line, and a primetime opponent that thought this would be a cruise. Not so fast. There's news that can reshape the game plan, a surprise on defense, and a detail about the other side that almost nobody noticed, but that could flip this season. You will not believe what we've got today. So sit down, smash that like button, and let's get straight into it. We have to start with the name that dictates the entire mood of this fan base, Justin Herbert. The first reaction when you see surgery on the hand and DNP on Wednesday is panic. But Jim Harbaugh has already made it clear the plan is to handle this week like normal QB1 prep for Monday night, with number 10 out there in walkthroughs, reading coverages and running the operation. This is not some vague maybe he plays. It's real optimism, just with a tighter level of control on every rep. The question is, in what condition can this offense operate with Herbert playing with that left hand protected and basically off limits under center? Against the Raiders, we saw the immediate adjustment. 0 snaps under center once he returned, a heavy dose of shotgun and pistol to limit contact and traffic around him. That's probably going to be the blueprint against the Eagles. Same aggressive mentality, but with smart filters on where and how much you expose your franchise quarterback. Meanwhile, Trey Lance is taking all the first-team reps in that initial practice. That's not a crisis move. It's insurance. Harbaugh and Greg Roman are building a game plan that works with both guys. Same calls, same philosophy, same identity. If Herbert is cleared and feeling good enough, he steps in and runs the plan. If the hand flares up and he has to come out, Lance doesn't walk in cold. The real point is how much this limitation actually changes the ceiling of this offense against a front that still has real pass rush juice. Less under center probably means less classic play action and fewer bootlegs. On the other hand, you can crank up the tempo, spread the field, use pistol to mirror some under center run concepts, and keep Herbert cleaner. If that balance hits, the narrative flips from fear to respect. Your leader playing through pain in prime time, running an offense adjusted just to keep him on the field. That's the kind of thing that unites a locker room and sends a message to the rest of the league. Tuli Tuiopulotu's rise has become one of those stories Bolt fam can't stop talking about. This isn't hype or projection. This is real, week after week production that's put the young edge rusher in the national conversation. With all the injuries that have attacked this roster, he never dropped his level. He actually went up a gear in the chaos. Look at the numbers and you understand we're not just talking about talent. We're talking impact. 10 sacks, 16 quarterback hits, and countless pressures that don't show up in the box score, but absolutely change reads, speed up throws, and force entire offenses into survival mode. He leads the team comfortably in sacks and is responsible for roughly a third of all quarterback takedowns by this defense. And he's doing this at 23 years old. That's the kind of player that changes the identity of a unit. The timing of this jump couldn't be better. On the other sideline is Jalen Hurts, a quarterback who loves to extend plays, escape the pocket, and improvise. For that to work, he needs time and clean edges. Time is exactly what Tuli is stealing from people right now. While the national focus is on Herbert's hand and the Chargers' offense, this defense is quietly growing a new backbone, and number 45 is at the center of it. Khalil Mack is still the emotional leader in a name every offensive coordinator respects, but he missed time this year. In practice, the constant motor along the line, snap after snap, has been Tuli. The way he wins with that first step, adjusts his angle, fights with his hands, and finishes with power looks like a veteran at his peak. That forces offenses to move protections, slide help, chip, keep tight ends in. Remember the questions about this defense's consistency earlier in the season, especially after that ugly loss to Jacksonville? While the offense was trying to rediscover itself, Tuipulotu kept this defense alive. Now, facing an Eagles offense that has struggled to run the football, that sits in the bottom tier of the league, turning drives into points, and hasn't been able to string explosive plays together, this matchup looks a lot more interesting than it did back in September. The key is simple: generate pressure without living on the blitz. And that's exactly what Tuli is delivering. Organic, sustainable, trustworthy pressure. A piece like that can transform an entire defense. If he shows up big on Monday night, Hurts is going to feel it. And the rest of the NFL is going to have to admit that the Chargers have a new defensive star who isn't developing anymore. He's already here. Jaylen Carter's absence completely changes the balance of this game, and most people still don't grasp how big that is. When the report first drops that the Eagles' defensive tackle had procedures on both shoulders, a lot of people shrugged it off as, he'll miss a game and be back. Not exactly. We're talking about one of the most explosive interior defenders in football. A guy who collapses pockets, destroys gaps, and forces entire offenses to rip up their plan. Taking that kind of presence out of the middle of your front doesn't just hurt, it scrambles everything. As more information came out of Philly, week-to-week status, no IR, but a clear possibility of him missing multiple games, the message was obvious. They don't know when he'll actually be back. This isn't just load management or playing through soreness. Double shoulder procedures in December are no joke. For a team that was already flirting with a drop in performance, this is massive. For the Chargers, it opens a huge strategic window. The Eagles' run game hasn't been the same this year, but their run defense also hasn't dominated like before. Take Carter out, and that front loses interior power, disruption, and timing. That means more space for inside zone, power variations, and pistol runs that take heat off Herbert. When your quarterback is managing a hand injury, any extra help to keep the offense balanced is gold. There's another detail people aren't talking about enough. With Carter out, the Eagles become a lot more edge-dependent for pass rush. That simplifies protections. You can slide, chip, design quicker throws, and screens without worrying so much about instant collapse from the middle. For an offense that will likely avoid going under center and lean heavily into pistol and shotgun, that is the perfect setup to keep rhythm and keep your quarterback upright. In his place, rookie Ty Robinson should see a bump in snaps. Talented? No doubt. But experience in moments like this matters, especially under the lights, against an offense that can punish every tiny crack in your front. He'll compete, but he's not the same type of presence. Harbaugh knows it. Greg Roman knows it. And that Chargers offensive line definitely knows it. Meanwhile, in the Eagles' locker room, the conversation is different. It's about surviving until the playoffs. That means they're not going to rush Carter back just to fix regular season problems, even if they're desperate for juice in the middle. That hesitation is the perfect opportunity for the Chargers to step on the gas, impose physicality, control the clock, and attack the soft spots that are going to open up. When a defense loses the heartbeat of its interior, everybody else has to overcompensate. And that kind of adjustment almost never clicks overnight. The question now is whether the Chargers will have the courage to exploit this advantage fully. Because if they do, this Monday night could become exactly the turning point Los Angeles has been waiting for. Back at the start of the season, this matchup with the Eagles felt like one of those games where you'd almost brace for impact and just pray it didn't become a primetime disaster. But the landscape has changed. What once felt nearly unwinnable has turned into a real chance to launch the Chargers into a serious wildcard push. This isn't empty optimism. It's context, timing, and reading the moment. The truth is, this is not the same offensive juggernaut that steamrolled the league. Philly has lost rhythm and identity, and they've struggled to move the ball consistently. Bottom 10 in total yards and passing yards. One of the worst rushing outputs in the league. 6th worst offense in the NFL when it comes to turning drives into points. 2 straight losses. No real explosion in the run game. Weak on third down. This is an offense living off flashes, not structure. And against a Chargers defense coming off a dominant performance versus the Raiders, that creates a lot of opportunity. Yes, what happened against Jacksonville was brutal. Nobody's pretending it didn't happen. But the response against Las Vegas mattered even more. Just 31 rushing yards allowed, constant pressure, disciplined fits, clean tackling. It looked like a group that used the bye week to stare in the mirror and decide they weren't going to be the problem anymore. If that version of the defense shows up against the Eagles, this game flips. Add in the fact that there's no Jaylen Carter on the other side, and the trenches look completely different. Without their star in the middle, the Eagles' defense is easier to keep on the field, easier to wear down, and easier to force into long nights. And the longer they stay out there, the more mistakes show up. The more chances Herbert, even limited, will get to attack favorable matchups and coverages. This matchup is a doorway to something bigger. If the Chargers win, their playoff odds jump to around 74% according to the simulations. And honestly, winning this game isn't some wild fantasy anymore. Inside the context of how both teams are playing, it's a logical path. Two teams heading in opposite emotional directions. One trying to tape its season together, the other realizing there's still time to make a run. So here's the question. Are the Chargers going to grab the spotlight on Monday night, or let this opportunity slip by? Because everything about this matchup suggests it could be the night that separates just another season from the beginning of a real run. Bolt fam, just look at what's on the line here. Herbert fighting through it, Tuli exploding, a huge gap in the middle of that Eagles defense, and a supposedly unbeatable opponent looking vulnerable right when the Chargers are starting to respond. This Monday night isn't just another game, it's a chance to flip the narrative, the locker room, and the entire season. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this team can punch its ticket and make a real playoff run? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's ride this one together. Because if they answer the call now, nobody is ever doubting Los Angeles again.